Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Super Etemon Saga review. This story arc ended up being a lot better than I remember. Oh boy, so this saga starts off with the Digidestined talking to Genai. So Genai or Genai? Genai? Unfortunately, Genai doesn't know who called them to the digital world, but he asks for their help over on Server Continent. There is evil there, and the Digidestined are the only ones who can defeat it. He also reveals that their Digimon can digivolve further using the crests and the tags. So their goal for this saga is to collect their respective tags and crests and then defeat the evil on the Server Continent. We also get a nice moment where all the Digimon that they've met during the Devimon arc help them put together a raft to cross the seas. Even the cute little Yokomon from Yokomon Village help. We also get some undeniable proof that Toei don't know how fire works. Agumon is knocking down trees with his fire breath, and Meramon, who is literally made of fire, is just carrying around logs without causing a forest fire. And then on their way to Server Continent, they get eaten by Whammon. Oh lordy, he's big. But it turns out he was being controlled by a black gear. So they destroy it, and Whammon takes them to the place where Devimon had hidden all their tags, where they defeat yet another Digimon who is still under the control of Devimon. Remnants of Devimon's evil still exist. And then when the gang finally arrive on Server Continent, we are introduced to Etemon.
It's not easy being a superstar, little bunny, but someone's got to do it.
The Digidestined come across a village of the sneaky Pagumon. They'd taken the village from a group of Koromon, and they are keeping them prisoner. And they're being ordered around by the Gazumon, who are working for Etemon. Etemon is so much better in Japanese. Some of the things he said in the English version were just, really out of place. Like I've talked about in my Digimon Saga review, some of the choices for the dub were just not very good at all.
Those right kids beat me again. Oh, I gotta find something easier to beat, like some cardboard boxes or something.
Anyway, the gang save the Koromon and they encounter Etemon, and we are quickly shown that Etemon is far too strong for them. And he uses something called the Dark Network, a series of cables that he controls that are spread around the Server Continent. It's like his version of the Black Gears. And then we get the Skull Greymon episode a lot earlier than I thought it was. This is such an important episode for Taichi. We learn that Taichi has always been super nice and thoughtful, but this episode he is obsessed with making Agumon digivolve into his ultimate form because he has his crest. And of course this results in him being far too harsh on Agumon and forcing him to digivolve into Skull Greymon, Agumon's evil ultimate form, and he goes on a rampage. And then when he reverts back, he reverts all the way back into a Koromon, and he seems pretty worn out and hurt. But Taichi learns his lesson. We also get some great foreshadowing. Mimi's crest of kindness was inside of a lily blooming on the top of a cactus. Also, this expression right here, this expression was my expression when I realised how long my Digimon Adventure review was going to be, realising I couldn't fit it all into just one video. But I think having one video for each story arc is working out pretty well so far. Piximon! It's Piximon! Or Piccolo-mon in Japanese. Piximon is great, and he offers to train the Digidestined. He gives Taichi and Agumon a special training course, because Taichi has lost his courage and his resolve. He no longer wants to digivolve Agumon. And Agumon doesn't want to digivolve either. They are scared, they have been traumatized by the Skull Greymon incident. And during their training, we get some music from the original movie. Hinting at their relationship before the series. And they encounter past child Taichi. And Taichi remembers that he shouldn't ever give up. And they return with their resolve renewed, and Agumon digivolves once again into Greymon, and they save the other Digidestined from Etemon. And we get a big revelation about the digital world itself during this story arc. Koshiro finds out that the digital world overlaps the human world. It exists within the Earth's network itself, probably. And they find Etemon's pyramid. Datamon or Nanomon has sent them an email asking for help. But oh no, trouble is brewing. After hearing Koshiro's revelation, Taichi thinks that they're in a game and they can't die. And with this false information, Taichi walks through an electric fence that could have killed him without any hesitation. and they rescue Nanomon, who turns out isn't actually a good guy. He's a real bad guy. He kidnaps Sora, and then Koshiro reveals to Taichi that he will actually die if he dies in the digital world. And this time, when they come across another electrical fence, Taichi has lost the courage to go through it, and the Digidestined have to escape from Etemon without Sora. But then, oh boy, it's time for the dramatic finale. The final episode, which is Metal Greymon's episode. It literally tells us this in the episode title. Spoilers much? I don't like that Digimon does this. Adventure 2020 does this too. They have really spoilery episode titles. A lot of the episodes and a lot of the awesome Digivolutions would be much better if they were kept a surprise. Anyway, the gang attack the pyramid. And this time Taichi musters up the courage to pass through the electrical fence, and his crest starts glowing. Big hype. And they manage to save Sora and escape the pyramid. Nanomon, meanwhile, comes face to face with Etemon, but these two do not get on. So Nanomon tries to suck him into the core of the Dark Network, which destroys everything it touches. However, it doesn't destroy Etemon. Etemon merges with the Dark Network, and he becomes super buff, kinda like Frieza's 100% power mode. And then he starts destroying everything. Taichi and Greymon, however, decide to fight him head on, to save the rest of the group and the digital world. And then it happens. With Taichi's great courage, Greymon manages to digivolve. Oh yeah. The first ultimate Digivolution. It's a very cool moment. It's Metal Greymon, baby! He destroys Etemon, but when Etemon is destroyed, he turns into, like, a vortex, and he sucks Taichi and Metal Greymon into it, and they disappear. The digital world is saved, but at what cost? Man, this story arc has actually been really good. And this is why the dub falls short.
I know they're up to something. I don't like the smell of this.
It wasn't me, boss, but listen.
Now, before I cancel you like a bad sitcom, direct me to Datamon. What do we got here, sports fans? A new batter steps to the plate.
I'm not afraid of you, you big blowhard. Come down here and fight like a man.
The music is still good though. Also, why does Greymon's accent change to, like, an English gentleman when he becomes Metal Greymon?
Greymon! Digimon 2! Metal Greymon! Giga Blaster!
But wait, there's more. There is one more episode to this story arc. Taichi and Koromon end up in the real world, and we get the music from the original movie again. They return to Taichi's house and they find out that it's the same day that they all disappeared to the digital world. This is when we realise that time moves very differently in the digital world. And we meet Hikari. We haven't actually seen her in the series yet. It's a big moment. And she remembers Koromon from the movie, and they do the hand clapping thing that they did in the movie. Very cool moment. But then Digimon start appearing in the real world and causing chaos. Taichi really wants to stay in the human world, but he resolves to return, and he and Agumon float up into the sky to return to the digital world, and hopefully stop the chaos happening. But then we see a Digivice left behind. Hikari's Digivice? Oh boy, what a great episode. So yeah, this arc was really good. Sadly, some of the voice acting in the dub isn't very good, and again, some of the lines are changed and it makes it much less impactful. But rewatching the original Japanese version was great. This saga focused a lot on Taichi. It was mostly about Taichi's character progression, and it was really good. And it sets up the Myotismon saga nicely. But what grade does it deserve? You know what? I am going to give it the same grade I gave the Digimon Saga. It's going to get an A grade. It was much shorter, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. In fact, it was a good thing. It was a very short story arc and it did what it needed to do perfectly. Every episode was dramatic and important, and the overall story was told perfectly. Etemon might not be the most memorable Digimon villain, nor the best, but his story arc was really good. It was more the story arc of Taichi and Agumon than Etemon, and it works nicely to bridge the Digimon Saga and the Myotismon Saga together. And I wholly recommend watching it again, especially with the Japanese voices. They make it so much better. Now, I'm not against dubs in general, but Digimon specifically comes from a time that when anime was ported to the West, it was heavily edited and most of the time given really bad voice acting. Digimon actually didn't do too bad when it comes to Western voice actors, especially compared to some anime.
I've got to believe in the cards like my friends believe in me. Impossible! Oh yeah, Naruto!
Ah! What are you doing here?
No, what are you doing here?
Here's how the story goes.
Joe, for example, has a good voice, so does Matt, so does Devimon. Agumon, on the other hand, not so much. And Etemon, well, Etemon is Etemon.
Thank you very much. Hello.
Right, well, I think that's it. I think I've said all I wanted to say. I think we are done with the Etemon arc. Highlights include Piximon, Skull Greymon, the finale with Meta Greymon, and the final episode set in the human world. All of it was great stuff. So what's next on the horizon? It is, of course, everybody's favourite vampiric evil Dracula based Digimon. It is Myotismon, oh boy. Quite possibly the MVP of Digimon Adventure. Let's see how it holds up 20 odd years later.